Okay, let's look at figure of 12.4. Shows 3x3 biometric simultaneous game. This game does not have dominant strategy equilibrium. For example, if you look at player Barkley, then playing $1 pricing generate 3, 7, 10 depending on opponent's reaction. And another strategy, setting a price $1.35 generate 5 at 14, right? So if you compare this payoff factor in red ink and this payoff factor again in red ink, then 5 is greater than 3, 8 is greater than 7, 14 is greater than 10. So you can say pricing strategy $1.35 as it generates always greater payoff, then the other strategy $1 dominates other strategy $1. So you can say for Barkley, setting price $1.35 dominates another strategy $1. Or in other words, we can say $1 strategy is dominated by another available strategy $1.35, right? Then what about the third strategy? Here, setting a price $1.65, 6, 6, 8, right? So 6 is greater than 5, but again, 6 is less than 8 and 8 is less than 14. So you can see that sometimes $1.65 does better than $1.35, but other times if opponent does different strategy, then $1.35 is actually does better than $1.65. So none of these two strategies dominate each other. Therefore, there is no dominant strategy for Barkley because none of these three strategies does generate the greatest payoff no matter what opponent does. And you can check for Allied, same thing. So here, takeaway is to know the definition of dominated strategy, right? And what strategy dominates another one, and only when one strategy for a player dominates all the other strategy, then that strategy is called dominant strategy, which is very hard to find. And then we can do the same thing for Allied. If you compare these two strategies, $1.30 generate 1, 2, 2, $1.55 generate 4, 7, 5. So depending on what opponent Barkley does, 4 is greater than 1, 7 is greater than 2, 5 is greater than 2. So when you compare these two vectors in blue ink, strategy $1.55 generate greater payoff than the other strategy for Allied. So you can say for Allied, $1.55 dominates another strategy $1.30, or in other words, you can say $1.30 strategy is dominated by $1.55, right? Then what about this one? You can say 6 is better than 1, 1 is less than 2. So again, you can see the different direction of inequality. So neither of these two strategies dominate each other. Therefore, you can know, well, you can maybe check once more, 6 is greater than 4, but 1 is greater than 7. So none of these strategies dominate each other, right? Or dominate all the other strategy. So this player Allied does not have dominant strategy that generate greatest payoff no matter what opponent does compared to all the other strategy. And these two, when you compare these two, this $1.55 dominates $1.30, vice versa. Thanks for watching.